Wait, I need some. Okay, go ahead. The first time I overdosed, I woke up in my car to police and paramedics all standing there over me, and my car was parked on a sidewalk next to a building. Parked. I must have went up over the curb with my car and came to a stop. We see this is what is out here. It's this corner over here has become really popular lately because they have nowhere else to go, because all the residents want them away from their homes. So they're out here and they're over here because nobody tells them to leave because there's nothing here. Hey, you.
What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy? Good.
How you been?
Good. How about you?
Long time no see. Good.
You look good.
Thank you.
Stay that way. So I was looking for him. I was hoping to see him. His name is Mike. Actually, the first time I ever overdosed I ever reversed an overdose, he was there. And we had a pretty good bond ever since. Good dude. Really good guy. Yeah, you know, Philly Unknown I created as a social media platform first and foremost. It was a social media platform that was to bring people together with like minds, but yet had similar social anxieties or had issues as far as empowering themselves to be good. And, you know, those people who just needed a place to fit in. And so I created the social media platform. And before I knew it, I had my first showcase where all the proceeds were donated to the homeless. And then I presented to them at a photo meetup that I was going to open the nonprofit. Before I knew it, I had the money for the community to open the nonprofit. And the community all was chipping in, and they were all on board. And, you know, this whole new life began all within less than a year. And it was just like head spinning and crazy to think that, you know, at one point I was laying on a dog bed, you know, overdosing. And the next time I was with this group of amazing people in a community doing some really good things in the city and just making a difference. I grew up in an area called Whitehall. Grow up, it was just me and my brother. My brother was 4 years older than me. 4 years older than me. You know, so it was cool. We never crossed grades. Like when I became a freshman, he was out. My bedroom window on the side. It was a 2-bedroom house. Me and my brother shared a room. We had a bathroom that was probably the size of a closet with a small shower and tub. Another bedroom, and that was it. 20 years in this house. They were here a little longer. But yeah, this is where I used to run the streets. This is a really quiet little suburb. Not much going on. Not much at all.
Hasn't changed much?
No, not at all. The guy that used to live in that house right there, Bob the drunk, he drove this light powder blue Volkswagen Bug, like a 70 or 72, and he was drunk 24/7. But the nicest guy in the world. Always nice, always friendly with us. But yeah, this is where I grew up. Doesn't look much different at all. Houses all look the same still too.
What was Britt like as a kid? Britt was a good kid. He was easygoing, had a lot of friends. Everybody liked him. Yeah, he was a good kid. Played sports.
That's why I played most of my sports. My dad was a coach for baseball and football. And
did he put extra pressure on you because of?
No, he never put extra pressure on me. I mean, he was very fair. I mean, all the players loved him. All the players loved having, my dad as a coach. He was good with everybody. But I didn't feel any extra pressure. I didn't feel like he didn't push me any extra harder. When I told him I didn't want to do something, I'd sit down and talk to him why, and he would get it. He wouldn't like it, but he'd get it. Used to be a scoreboard over there that used to take the numbers on and off by hand. And the football field went this way. That's really cool.
Yeah. Who did Gary and Dolly last week? They were here last week or 2 weeks ago, and they put it together.
It came out really good. Thanks.
Yeah, they did a nice job.
It's my dad's
His varsity sweater from high school.
with all his pins.
With his pins and yeah.
When we found it a year ago, we were looking at it.
Yep.
It was because it came up on my memories, and
did it?
and I said, "You put it in this for me," and she did.
Yeah.
Love it, Mom.
Good.
Thank you.
Glad.
How much of an impact on you did his death have?
A lot. It still does. I mean, it's still so fresh. But a lot. He was a huge support to the things I was doing, and really, vocal in his last year around of, how he was happy with what I was doing. So when that happened, I was just like, great. Now what? Now where's my cheerleader? Where's that 6 a.m. text? Letting me know where. And it bothered me. I mean, for a while, I'm like, this is what I want to do. But my dad was the type of person that you don't skip a beat. Like, he got out of the hospital after a major, major surgery, and he drove himself to the office. I went to work. He had his triple bypass. The next day when they released him, he went to the office for a few hours. If you're sick and you don't go to work, his motto was, how are you going to get paid? So I looked at it like, would he want me to skip a beat? Would he want me to stop? Would he want me to put things on hold? And in the best way possible, I heard him say, are you fucking kidding me? Keep doing what you're doing. You're not a quitter.
How did you meet Britt?
Met Britt back in 1988. He was our student teacher for English class in high school.
I met Britt, I would say 87, 88. He was our student teacher in English class back at Deerfield High School.
Why do they call you teacher?
Because they're assholes.
And I don't know, he was just quite the character. He's 2 years older than us. He was a sophomore in college, so everybody hit it off. And that was it. I mean, we all became friends through that.
They call me teacher because I sat on the desk in the corner of this classroom, hungover almost every day, listening to their teacher just teach and observing. And it's been a running joke with them that I was their teacher, and I never taught them a thing because I cannot take responsibility for how stupid they are.
From there, we formed a relationship for 30 some years now.
When did you learn that Britt had an addiction problem to opiates?
That was a slow process. I know he always had his thing for his marijuana, and it slowly became, the pill bottle was bigger and bigger and bigger. Any problems, any pains you had, oh, wait a minute, I think I got something for you, and then you realize at that point it was starting to take over his life and starting to be an issue for him.
Did he tell you about the first time that he started going down a bad path of addiction with opiates? Did you know?
Yes, we all knew that he was, doing things. We always knew that he always smoked, marijuana. And then eventually then we caught on that it was worse things, cocaine. And he did go down the dark path. We all tried to talk to him, but I guess at that time he wasn't really listening, you know.
I was bartending, and I was a friend of mine's girlfriend, wife now, had ACL surgery, and she had like Percocets and Darvocets and Percodans and all these different types of pills that she couldn't take. They made her stomach sick, didn't make her feel good. So of course they offered them to me, and I of course was like, sure. And it was a bag, like one of those quart bags, freezer bags, filled with pills. They just dumped them all in because they don't, in this bag. And this was like, to me, it was like, oh, right on. And a week later, I was in a car accident and broke my shoulder in 5 places. And the doctor started prescribing pain pills for me left and right. Like I went to one doctor and he was giving me Percocets. Went to the other doctor, he was giving me Vicodins. Went to the other doctor, he was giving me Percodans. And I was getting them all at different pharmacies because back in 2001, that was sort of normal.
Once you've found the right doctor and have told him or her about your pain, don't be afraid to take what they give you. Often, it will be an opioid medication. Some patients may be afraid of taking opioids because they're perceived as too strong or addictive. But that is far from actual fact. Less than 1% of patients taking opioids actually become addicted. And any drowsiness that might occur when you start to take the medication will soon wear off in most patients.
There's no question that our best, strongest pain medicines are the opioids, but these are the same drugs that have a reputation for causing addiction and other terrible things. Now, in fact, the rate of addiction amongst pain patients who are treated by doctors is much less than 1%. They don't wear out, they go on working, they do not have serious medical side effects. And so these drugs, which I repeat are our best, strongest pain medications, should be used much more than they are for patients in pain.
Nobody questioned it. Nobody thought differently of it. So there I sat with this big bag of pills that looked like a Pez dispenser just puked inside of it, of different types of, everything from opiates to benzos, all in one bag. It was like, how did you want to fill? Here's a pill. And then the prescribed ones for me. So, and that was in 2001.
Did it cause a strain on our friendship? Yeah, I believe so. Because it like I said, it got to that point where you could tell it was a problem. And it was starting to just get annoying, I guess. Like, why are you going that way when everything's been fine this way? And he chose that path. But we remained friends. Anytime he'd come back home, he knew my door was always open, and he'd come stay at my house, sleep in my basement for weeks on end. I didn't care. It was Britain. It's a good friend. So.
Or was it something actually you just enjoyed?
I think both. I think it was the physical addiction, and it was also how they made me feel. Sort of made me forget, make me feel invincible a little bit, to where, nothing mattered. I sort of had a, I don't give a fuck attitude towards life. If friends got mad at me, it was cool. I was really cool with like closing friends out of my life real quickly. I was very easily to like push people away because the pills were my friends. That's all I cared about. I remember actually one pharmacist did call me out and said that they couldn't fill the prescription because it was too soon from the other prescription. So I remember having my brother, and he knew nothing about it, but drive me to another pharmacy that was brand new, and they gave it to me.
Do you know of any hard times, or any addiction periods that Britt was going through in his life?
I probably knew it, yeah.
We were close, but
close but disconnected.
I was really good at disconnecting from
We were
my
disconnected
parents.
from that part.
Very good
that
at
I
disconnecting.
knew
that
very
part of my
little or
life.
none of it.
He actually ended up moving away. I think he moved down to Florida at that point, and it became even worse.
2004, I moved to Florida to sort of escape everything. I had gone into really bad like a funk. I started, using drugs. I left my job, a really good job back at home. So I decided the best thing to do was probably move. So one of my best friends said he would go with me, and we moved together. We moved away. I got a job, got a real good job. I was doing really well. It was great. And then I started getting all these promotions. And within 2 years, I was back to where I started because everything was getting to be so much I couldn't handle it. So I turned to what I knew best, drinking a lot, blowing lines, and doing a lot of pills.
That got bad down there, and he'd come back home, then he'd go back down, come back home. It was kind of, but once he settled out in Manayunk, we've been friends, but we were kind of a little more distant at that point. Again, he was off doing his thing, but he could call me anytime. He knew that. I'd always be here. If he needed a pillow and a place to stay, he knows the door's always open.
And did he make that call?
No.
No, he didn't.
No.
How did you find out that he was at his lowest point?
He told me.
Okay.
Yeah, he told me. I didn't get to see that part, like the last one or two go-arounds where he was down and out again. Again, it was like, we're here, he's there. So he'd give us a call. Me and Pete and him get together, we'll go for dinner. They'll tell us, hey, this is what happened, and I did this again, and I screwed up, and blah, 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 blah. But he kind of always keeps us in the loop. But afterwards, it's not, hey, I'm going this way and I need help. He never came to us that way.
How long were you addicted for?
Off and on since 01 till 4 years ago. So 01 to 2016. I shied away from a lot of people, probably just for the simple fact that, that's not a very proud thing that you want to do. I mean, it was bad enough that, you didn't tell people. They still knew what was happening, but you never mentioned it. And then to have to go into recovery or have to go through something that they don't understand, you remove yourself from that situation. You have to. I mean, think about if somebody tells you something that you have no clue how to feel or no clue what they're going through. How can you empathize with that person? You might sympathize for them, but do you really? And, a lot of people were probably at that point sick of me. They're probably sick of hearing the same old story, the woe is Brit, and I got that. And I thought, for once in your life, grow the hell up and take responsibility and be accountable. And I did. And that's what really pushed me through it.
I after trying to help him, I pretty much cut him off for a little while until he got help, because he wasn't listening to me, he wasn't listening to anybody. And then he eventually moved out of my house, and I didn't talk to him for a little while after that, which sucked. I mean, it was sad, but only so much you can do for somebody if they don't want no help.
I wish I could really pinpoint or put my thumb on it and say, yes, that's what it was. And, it's probably a mixture of everything. Me not dealing with me. I think that's what people tend to forget, that there was probably something there that sparked it way before. I was just using it now. So there was some type of trauma or something that happened to me prior to that, stemmed over to it. Whether it had been just my social anxiety issues, whether it had been, the fact that I just hated what I was doing in life and I was just doing motions for other people, not myself. Who knows? You know what I mean? I still don't know. I still haven't put my thumb on it. And, the minute I do, it'll be like an aha moment. But I'm not really looking for it at the moment. But I know that, it wasn't the pills. But it was probably since 2001, and then from 2004 to close to 2006, I was really good until I had my surgery again. I had a surgery where they put me back on pills, and I just went right back into that cycle.
America's opioid crisis is rampant, with an average of 115 opioid deaths each day. In my hometown of Philadelphia last year, drug overdoses killed more than 1,200 people.
Deadly overdoses continue to skyrocket, and Pennsylvania is ground zero for the epidemic, logging the third most overdoses in the nation.
Well, in 2018, transit police delivered 390 doses of Narcan. It was, occurring an overdose either on the transit system or near the transit system more than once a day. When officers are on patrol, they're looking for characteristics that will give them an indication that somebody may be under the influence of narcotics or near the point of overdosing. Those signs are lethargy, an odd lean. It's something you can't even describe. You have to see it. Folks who are high on heroin defy gravity in the way they lean forward.
24 dispatch, send the squad.
Wake up, buddy. Come on, dude. Come on, wake
go
up.
To my driver door. Blue packet, driver door. Driver door.
This is squad on Lincoln Way in front of Fat Boy Tools right now for an overdose.
Hey, stay with me.
Come on, dude. Wake up, bud.
It's all right.
The cops are here.
Leave him a little bit of breath, okay?
Yes.
Make sure I don't get hit, please.
Yep, I'm fine. I got you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
24 dispatch, Narcan administered. He's got a pulse, guys. He's okay.
Well, 2 doctors are charged with operating a pill mill in Philadelphia and Montgomery counties. Prosecutors say the doctors operated Carriage House Medical Group in Flourtown. They're accused of writing illegal prescriptions for 85,000 tablets of oxycodone.
This practice was a pill mill in our community.
According to investigators, Dr. Robert Shorshinsky was responsible for intentionally overprescribing opioids. Investigators say he was working with 2 of his staff members and one of their spouses at Penn Family Medicine in Exeter Township to fraudulently obtain the drugs.
Well, today a judge sentenced a doctor charged with running a pill mill in Montgomery County to 4 to 20 years in prison. Brian Keeley was accused of overprescribing painkillers for profit at an Ambler family practice.
I mean, over time, what you've seen is a dramatic increase in the number of civilians who are equipped with Narcan. Tremendous increase, and that's a good thing. Look, we're trying to save lives, and I hear frequently, yeah, you're saving a life, but you're not changing that life. We may not be changing that life at that moment, but at least we're extending that life so that that person has an opportunity to change it down the road.
What would you say now the average age or demographic of addicts that you see on the streets?
Well, they're young, I mean, they're in their 20s generally. The Kensington Avenue is a corridor in the eastern section of Philadelphia. It used to be a thriving business area in the 60s. In an industrial part of the city, and now it's like an area where people are zombies. It's distressing, it's disturbing, it's upsetting. We have a lot of police resources in that area, a lot of EMS resources, and a tremendous number of really well-intentioned people in social services who are trying to reach folks before they overdose.
Have a good one, ma'am. That's good. She's still there. She's not in good shape at all.
Her?
Yeah. She's been there since we got here tonight.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. What we got? 1, 2, 3. I'll get rid of them real quick on the Ave right here.
Swinging around.
I'm just gonna swing right down the avenue and I'll hit 3. I'm not hitting Somerset again. I just hit right here, boom, boom, boom. Here you go, buddy. Have a good one.
Thank you.
For some reason, I think I gave him sneakers last year. 1, 2, we're good. 2 more.
So, what would you say what is going on with her?
Her? She's got a batch of something. Looks like more K2 than anything. Heroin, she wouldn't be standing. She probably did some K2, and it probably just is working like this one right here. Yo, are you pulling over for that dude? Or no? They're not? Yeah. If you would have been there longer, at least he understood and gave an acknowledgement that he was cool. So I'm glad. But sometimes when you do that, they're not so happy.
Describe the night that you overdosed and they had to get you up with Narcan.
That was that night in the car. And then the one at the house down there on Crescent, they didn't need Narcan. They were using water, and the people I were with, I don't know what exactly they did. But the last time, I was at this friend's house, and I just remember coming out of the kitchen, and coming out of this bathroom that was right next to their kitchen. And the next thing I knew, I remember laying on the floor and hearing people talk to me, but I couldn't see them. But I knew they were there. And when I finally had my eyes open, there was a cop and 2 paramedics and this friend standing there. And the cop was like, "You're lucky we're not busy today."
How much of a strain did that put on your relationship?
A lot. That's why, I cut him off then for a while. And then, everybody that, all of our friends together, we all did the same thing. We're like, we can't help this guy. I don't know what to do. And, so he felt bad, but what can you do? I didn't want to force, have somebody come get him, but he needed something. He needed to go away somewhere.
Did you recognize that you had a problem?
I think a lot of times when people are addicted to something or have a substance use disorder, they don't really recognize it. They think it's normal for them. So for me, that was part of my life. People got up in the morning, they poured their coffee, some might have a cigarette, some may go for a run, a walk. I would get up in the morning, I would take some pills. It was just very much routine for me. When the pills started becoming very expensive, which they are, $30 for one pill in the black market, compared to a $10 bag of heroin. So you can get 3 bags of heroin to equal $130 of perk, where it makes sense. So then you start borrowing bags, and that was just because it was a cheaper and easier commodity to get.
Did that change where you needed to go to get neighborhood-wise?
Oh yeah. I didn't just go up the street. I had to go cross town over to Kensington, and I had to ingrain myself in the community over there on the streets in an area that's been known stigma-wise as the Badlands for many years, because it's the largest open-air drug trade in the country. Kensington has the largest open-air drug trade in the country. It started way back in the late 70s, 80s with the crack epidemic, and it just spiraled over into the opioid epidemic, and that's everybody knew which corners you can go to So I knew which corners they were, and I would go.
You remember October 28th, 2015?
Yep. Yeah.
That was
the last overdose, October 28th, 2015, last overdose. It was a storming, ugly, rainy, nasty day. It was the ugliest, nastiest day I've ever seen in a while. And things just felt like hell opened up and was unleashing everything. And that was when I said, that's it. Tomorrow, if I don't go into recovery tomorrow, it's never going to happen. I might as well just be dead.
Why did you forego the option of checking into a rehab and go the IOP route? What is IOP?
IOP is intensive outpatient, which is you go to group 3 days a week and they test you and they hold you accountable and and you're still able to go out into the community and work and function and everything. And I couldn't. I mean, I had, my 3 dogs and my cats and my business, and I was gonna have to worry about all that. And I thought, well, if I was strong enough to make a decision to go down that road, I could be strong enough to make a decision to go the other way. And so that's what I did. I fought like hell, and I surrounded myself with some really good people, and I started to go to group, and it really helped a lot. Helped a lot.
So if you can't, what was detox like?
Oh, it was lousy. It was the worst thing in the world. It feels like somebody's ripping your insides out, like somebody's like ready to just rip every part of your gut and out. And the shakes, the sweats, the lack of sleep, the pain, the headaches. It's like taking the worst flu you ever had and multiplying it by 1,000. And that's what it's like. Hey, some snacks, some socks, a t-shirt. Take care of yourself, okay? I think what happens is people come out once in a great while, and that's good. I mean, because they come out to do, the work that is needed to be done, but they have to understand that there needs to be connections. It's not just handing them a styrofoam container of food, or it's not just, coming out and, once every few months and, God bless you, give me a hug sort of thing. It's a consistency. It's showing them that people care, showing them that, they care. So you can form those bonds, you form those connections. Try your best at least. Today we're gonna be doing a compassion bag give and a winter outreach for our Cover Up Philly initiative. We're gonna be taking out necessities and compassion bags to our friends in need on the streets, as well as coats and scarves and hats and other winter accessories, so that way they have something for the cold months coming ahead. Have a great day, guys. You have the Reese's? Because I didn't like sticking my hand into the Reese's out. I started doing the work I do many years ago when I was younger and stuff. And even like through my years of, substance use disorder, it was there. And, but the nonprofit's been around for 3 years. But it really came into fruition after I went into recovery off of opiates.
I think still, when we have to, when one of us, usually Britt, has to check on somebody to see if they're actually breathing. That's a real hard one.
Reversing an overdose.
The overdoses, yeah. I've been out here a couple times where I've seen not homeless kids, but just kids out in the midst of all this. So that's really hard. I hate seeing that.
I mean, the overdoses are never going to be easy.
No.
Why do you think Kensington is such a hard-hit area?
Yeah, it's just not something that Philadelphia is proud of. You know, we got national exposure because we have the best heroin or the best fentanyl. You know, I think that we were all happier when we had the best football team. It's not something that any Philadelphian strives for, or any elected official or any public official. I don't know that we have an answer as to why Philadelphia, but it's a problem, you know, and it's a problem that I'm proud of our city for how they're trying to deal with it. You know, they're looking at alternative methods. You know, you talk about the safe injection sites. I mean, they're very seriously considering that option. They have street teams that are out with police officers and medics. There's tremendous outreach that I like to think is having a positive effect, and we certainly have a lot of more work to do, but I think that progress is being made.
When the overdoses start to happen in like a rash where there's 14, 15, 16 in one day, you start to think a little bit, you know, are we fighting a losing battle here? But as long as we get up each day and we go out there and we do what we're doing, myself and my colleagues on the streets, other advocates and activists, there's hope. Because that's what we provide the people on the streets. We provide them hope. If we don't have it for them, who's going to?
Otherwise, if you give me a pair of Timberland.
What size you get?
9.5? 15 wide.
15 wide.
Most of the shoes I got now are like the single E.
Were those ones that you got from us?
You got. Yeah. These are comfortable. These are Champion. Man, Champion got me. They got me hooked. These things are. Search all their lives for greatness, and it's standing right in front of them.
How you been on the Alpine lately?
Oh yeah, they gave away sleeping bags last Sunday.
Did they?
They had big boxes, and then they had bags of socks. They had white and black, and they gave you one of each. It was 5 pair of each. Oh, it was awesome last week.
Who was? Alpine did it?
I'm 4th in Lombard.
Yeah, where we go.
Yes. How did you remember me?
Come on now, all these years after the last year or so working with you, yeah.
You probably noticed my feet. Hello, I'm Art. I used to be one of the formerly homeless. This gentleman has helped me. I have a problem. I wear size 15 wide shoes, and they're hard to find in most stores and places. And yet in the last year, this gentleman has supplied me with 4 pair, and I'm grateful to no ends. I cannot extend, you know, how grateful I am. Whoever's out there watching this gentleman is a godsend, and I hope he stays. I hope God blesses you always. Thank you so much. You have no idea, man.
I work really closely with different agencies here in the city, with them learning and teaching and bringing awareness. I did a docuseries with Voice of America called The Damage Done. The Unwanted was the Philadelphia version. There was a North Carolina and a Miami version. But the Philly version followed myself and 2 people that were in active addiction who were on the streets, looking to get off the streets, get into recovery and to get better, and just about what the community was like. So I spent a good part of a year filming that. We did 5 episodes of that, and that was something I was involved with.
What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning. Come on in.
Let me grab my stuff. I'll come in.
Why are you up so early today?
Because we have a screening of the documentary, The Damage Done, that was filmed by Voice of America today. So, up, getting ready, best I can. I went to bed the time I usually get up for my first bathroom break. Let's see how many people we got. I agreed to do this series because I believed it would give me a chance to bring awareness and break the stigma affecting addiction and homelessness. I felt if I was able to make an impact on at least one person, then it was worth it to me. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot more about the disease that almost killed me and that continues to destroy our nation. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming this afternoon, for taking time out on Saturday to join us for the screening of the docuseries that was filmed over the course of the project for 2 years. We'll talk about that a little bit after the show, of course. When I was approached by VOA, and this is Voice of America, the producers over, this is Jackie DePhillips. Jackie is actually a Philly native, and Chris Simpkins. I was fortunate just to be a part of this series, and even more fortunate that when we wanted to do this special screening, because this is one time done sort of screening here, I actually had to go and requisition this to be put together, and I appreciate you all.
Since the evictions of the first 2 encampments down in Kensington, the overdoses have skyrocketed.
Damn, what a shame.
Oh, I know this guy.
No way is that going in.
What do you think, man? Your buddy says he's fine. I'm telling you what I'm thinking. He's not fine at all. My main concern right now when I go out there is to make sure that nobody is overdosing, because that's all you see.
Ready? Where's the needle? Oh, where's the needle? In his hand. In his hand. Right hand. Ready? All right. Oh, there he is. There he is. There you go, buddy. Hey, welcome back.
It's becoming what most people were afraid it was going to become. It's becoming a zone that people might consider to be a war zone.
There's days where I get frustrated. You know, there's days where, like, you know, we might start like somewhere in outreach and something happens and I'm really frustrated or in a foul mood then because of it. But something always turns it around, because meeting the people that we meet on the streets and meeting the people that are out there that are looking forward to connecting with us, knowing that we made a difference in their lives, even if it were a short period of time, that provides me more hope. Put it right on. Right there, that makes my day. That I can end my day like with something like that, when like somebody takes it out and uses something that's in there, that makes my day. Like when I drive down the avenue after we're done doing outreach and I see them walking with their bags on, like when we give them their like protective bags, or standing there eating, or even when we give them the brushes and their combs and they're combing their hair, that makes my day. I get so happy.
So what are you doing out here today?
Today we came out with my friend Josh Combs. Josh Combs is in from London. He is a hairstylist. He goes around the world and cuts hair for people in need and connects with them and tells stories. And Josh and I connected a few years ago, a little over 3 years ago, and we have been out on outreaches several times together between Philly, New York, Miami, heading to Washington, D.C. But today we're out here just spreading a little compassion and getting some people trimmed up and looking good and feeling good about themselves. The recovery specialist or the peer specialist?
Yes,
with DBHIDS?
Yes.
That's
Starts
awesome.
in like 2 weeks.
They do a lot of work down at the storefront.
Right.
They take a lot of people in there. That way you're a certified peer specialist. Right. So you're going to do the classes?
Yes.
That's good.
It's 10 days.
That's good, but you got to make sure that you take care of yourself first.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
I'm just trying to do something that helps me stay good.
So you think that then paying it forward to others is going to help you stay
It does.
well? Good.
It does.
And trust me, I know.
It does.
I know.
Especially, like, I don't know, like, seeing other people, like, I don't want to get there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. That's why I went to rehab.
What is coming down the pipeline?
Wow. Community healing gardens are going to be for the groups that are going, like the community over in Kensington, that are going through so much trauma. They have so much tragedy. And you don't see children playing out in the streets. You don't see families outside enjoying a sunny day. If you do, they have to block their streets off and worry about what may happen. We want a safe place or a sanctuary place where they can come and they can just enjoy life. Today we're over at the Breaking Bread community where we're putting in the homes for the homeless and those in need and their pets. But what we're working on today is the community garden, which is a community healing garden that the Philly Unknown Project is partnering with SREHUP, which is student-run emergency housing of Philadelphia, to bring a community garden and instill a sense of community here in the Kensington area.
Beautiful.
He's doing amazing things in Philadelphia.
Yes, he is.
You know
Yes,
that.
he is.
So, what are your thoughts on what he's doing in Philadelphia, in Kensington area?
I'm very proud of him, and I'm scared for the situation going out in the streets there in Philadelphia. I worry about that, but I'm very proud of what he does and that he wants to do it. It takes a special person to do that.
And I guess, you know, probably people hearing his story and seeing his story, I would think that it's a perfect example of somebody who can come from the depths of hell, maybe in a way to describe it, to what he's doing now.
I guess.
She's not a big fan of, like, she didn't really know the extent of what I did on the streets. She knew what I did, but she didn't know where and stuff.
The less I knew about it, the better off I was.
She saw it on the news one day
Sure.
and she was like, "What were you doing?" I'm like, "Well, that's where my office is." And she's like, "What?"
Sometimes the less you know, the better off you are as a parent. As a parent.
Yeah.
Because the more you know, the more you worry, and the more you have no control of it.
But I mean, you're proud of him now.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, very proud. He does a lot of good things. Does a lot of great things.
He's back to Brit. Just an older version. A go to bed early kind of guy. But he never did that before. But no, he's back to the ball busting, joke cracking, you know, just fun loving life guy that you know I knew and I met back in '87 or '88. He's come back around, you know, he's done full circle. Seen him at his highs, seen him at his lows, you know, and he's back to being at his highs again where he's happy, and I know he loves what he does, helping people, and that's just Brit.
We have some other initiatives. We are partnering with one of the charter academies in the area, working with the students. I've partnered with another charter school that they are working to help us build certain things. Hoping to get a community rec center started by the end of 2020 over in Kensington. I have the building, I have the partner to do it. We just need to get everything else in line to do it. So that way we could start to teach some like transitional life skills and stuff like that to the community over there who needs it the most. Basically, we're just trying to work with the community to continue to beautify over gentrify. Today we're going to get in the van, we're going to hit the streets, we're going to drive around, we're going to hand out some compassion bags and provide some resources and supplies to our friends out on the streets that have nowhere to go. I mean, this is a stay at home, but they don't have homes to go to. So we're going to get out there, we're going to give them some supplies. We're also going to drive around the community and see which neighbors might need some supplies as well as we're driving around, because let's face it, we're all in a little bit of need at this point in time. Usually before I start to hand things out, I just like to sort of drive around and assess where a huge need may be, or everybody's in need, but like, has somebody else been out here handing out things, and I don't want to duplicate the efforts because there's so many other people out here that may not have gotten from another organization or other outreach workers. So I just like to assess it first. Plus I like to know what, you know, I'm getting myself into in these most uncertain and bizarre times. Yeah, outreach has been a little bit more challenging with the pandemic because of the social distancing, because of the fact that, you know, we can't get close to those that we're used to getting close with and actually have some type of contact. So I've been doing from inside the van. We've been loading the van up with all of our supplies. We've been driving around. We've been handing supplies out from inside the van. If we need to get out, we've been doing a drop at a safe distance for them to be able to pick up or just to see what they need. But yeah, it's been a little bit challenging. However, it has been challenging the fact of finding people because the streets are still filled out here. Even with that stay-at-home order in effect, the streets out here are filled with people.
And how has the pandemic affected Philly Unknown and your project with the city?
You know, I got to say, one thing I'm very fortunate about is that since Philly Unknown is a nonprofit, and what the nonprofit work does, we're deemed essential. So we're allowed to be out here. However, it's affected some of the initiatives that we have going on. It's affecting something like the community gardening that we just took the lease over here. It's pushing that back a little bit. But you know, these are just little barriers, little obstacles we've got to work around in order to make it, you know, that much better. I mean, we're used to taking a few steps backwards before we go forward. What is the city doing to help them on a daily basis? I mean, if they're going to have a stay at home, they've got to figure out where they're going to have people go or take them. But in the meantime, put up another $500,000 condo right next door so it could rot from the inside out. And a block away, not care for the population that's hurting and needs it the most vulnerable at this point in time. How you doing other than that?
I know you probably won't be back down there for a minute.
I was just down there. Where, Old Pine?
Yeah.
Dropping stuff off this week. Because they're still giving out food every day.
Right.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
they are.
good to see you.
Yes, I've been asking them about you. What is your name again?
Britt. B-R-I-T-T.
Britt.
Yeah, man.
Britt. Thank you, man, and take care.
You too, buddy.
Bye, Art.
Dude.
People always talk about doing something good, you know. Nobody really does, but he just took it to a whole new level. I mean, everybody around here is proud of him. You know, we all follow him. You know, he's helping people that need it, you know, and he's not giving up on them like some people gave up on him. So, I mean, he's proud of him. We're all proud of him. You know, he's really doing great things for a lot of people, so.
What he's doing in Kensington is amazing to me. I mean, I'm not part of that lifestyle, but I watched his other documentaries, I hear his stories. I see it on the news. And to walk in there and do what he's trying to do and deal with what he's dealing with is, to me, it's amazing. I mean, it takes a certain type of person, and he's the man for the job. But to deal with it every day, I don't know if I could do it.
Well, through your experience and with the Philly Unknown project, what do you feel is your biggest impact so far in the community?
I think my biggest impact in the community so far has just been bringing awareness to the community about the issues that we're facing, whether it's with the opioid crisis, whether it's with the homeless crisis, whether it's with, you know, a societal issue like gun violence or something like that. I became a voice. I was able to have a platform to bring awareness. And to me, that's really important, that I was able to bring this type of awareness to an issue that so many people would turn their back on somebody that was homeless sitting on a corner. They walk by them, they would pretend they're not there. Now people like sending me messages, thank you, I take an extra pair of gloves or an extra hat or some water, and I connect with somebody, you know? I've had families now who have reached out to me that their loved one is in active addiction and has substance use disorder, and what can they do to help? Where, you know, can I help them find them? Can I help get them in recovery? And I think because I've been so transparent to this community, it's helped more than I can ever imagine. Just telling my story has been making a huge difference.
Has outreach been even?
It was average.
This baby sucked.
No, it was average.
Okay, you know.
I love them.
That was easy.
Oh, thanks, man. Cool.
Stay right.
Was that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Was that good? I mean.